Hello, and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be going over deception, or what's it called? Infiltration. I am taking some talents that I normally do not take. I'm taking the 1% heal / force gain, or I guess regen, back when you actually hit your abilities. The main reason I'm taking this is just to make it so I can spam more while I'm in combat, but also the heal is kind of nice, but it's not like super good. If it was 2%, it would definitely be really good. It's only 1%, so it's whatever. We're also running may cause injury, which is another reason why we're using that talent, so we can spam our Reaping Strike more, which is where most of our damage is going to be if we end up not getting a AoE-ish game. And we're also taking the damage reduction in slow on Voltec Slash. The reason why we're taking that is just so we can stay in combat more and get more AoE off, but also, just help our sustain. Sometimes I don't run this talent and I am complete paper. Like, I die very fast, and I pretty much go with the playstyle of trying to nuke them before they can even get a chance to retaliate. Which is, it works, it's fine. It's just most of the time the matches are either like this or they're, how to put it, just not good for deception. It's definitely not a great class, and it has a lot of weaknesses and a lot of ways to shut it down. Gone is the days of having, force speed absorb and having whirlwind and all your other utility that you used to have. Glass is kind of gutted, and for deception it's definitely a glass cannon unless you're taking the damage reduction talent, and even then your defenses are only so good. So for example, if you're interested in using defensive management for deception, I do have a video completely dedicated on it for 4v4 and 8v8, but a quick rundown is that you usually want to save your shroud, especially in 8v8, against classes that are doing yellow damage and they're specifically hitting you. Don't just use your shroud because you're taking yellow damage AoE and it gets rid of you and it's getting annoying. Use it when you have a thermal detonator on you. Use it when you have Stormwatch on you, Death Brand, generally any yellow AoE that can really threaten you, like concealment, and especially AP. And then for deflection, if you're not taking the CC immunity talent, you can use it anytime you start taking white damage from a class that actually does good white damage. Classes that do good white damage is Carnage, Arsenal, Immortal, and Marksman. Those are the main specs that you probably just want to pop to Deflection right away, since it's a relatively low cooldown. And it'll basically negate their damage for 12 seconds, which is huge. If they do CC you do, however, lose all that defense chance. So this may be a good idea to break just to make sure you can maintain that defense chance. As for the match that we're playing, again, it's nothing special. I had not played in at least 3 days, maybe more, and I haven't played Deception in such a long time at this point. And there was a whole bunch of sorcerers in queue, so I was like, what, I'll run the DR talent on Deception, and I'll try to get an AoE game. Unfortunately, I wasn't that lucky. It wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't that great. However, it is pretty decent for commentating over. There's nothing too crazy going on, and you guys can follow along, and I can kind of explain some things. As you saw there, I got a pretty nice AoE discharge there. But the idea of what I'm doing here is that with Shadowcraft, I'm running Shadowcraft in Second Wind. So basically what I'm doing here is just trying to increase my single target and sustain, but also giving me some AoE, which is good, but generally the crit chance, and probably running Reaping Strike would have been better for this match with 2 cloaks. I could probably just run around and nuke everybody over and over and over if I was doing that. However, kind of just wanted to mix it up a little bit. I wasn't expecting players to be, I don't know, definitely like tiers of players, but also at the same time, there's not much you can do when half your team's not really doing anything, so can't really fault them. And in situations like this too, like you find yourself alone and you're fighting like a burst damage, definitely abuse the vents. It doesn't matter what spec you're playing. You can abuse the vents. If you have decent mobility, you just take the vent and then you can pretty much just like use force speed or whatever immediately back to combat. And especially if you're like a Sork or something, it's super nice. It's not necessary for most SWTOR. Definitely seen me use it a lot on PT and other specs. It's very nice. A lot of people will give up on hitting you if you do it a lot. Definitely try to use that to my advantage at least. And that right there really is the reason why I like playing this tactical. I have not played this spec very much, this expansion, just because there's just so much stuff that's better, which next video I will commentate over will be AP, which is a random AP game that I played pretty much after this. And I'm like, okay, well, not playing AP anymore because it's kind of, it's kind of pointless. It's very like, it's fun, it's strong, but there's so many other things that I could play, and I know how to play pretty much everything in the game. I just don't like the heal, so I would say I'd probably most inexperienced on healer. So, for the most part, playing most specs in the game, not hard. Some of the specs are more fun than others. For example, I would say this one is pretty decently fun, such as with AoE discharge. However, I do think that durability definitely makes it not as fun, and the fact that you have to use your it's more so like talent points are just not balanced on the class. You do have to go some defensive power in order to gain some basic mobility that every other class has. Does not feel good. And as for how to play Deception, again, not a great class right now. So results are obviously going to vary. And one thing to learn is the low slash, like how to use your low slash properly to create some range during the travel time. You can get an ability off and not break them as, and then you can follow another ability. So basically, you're able to get 2 abilities off during the low slash versus 1. Also, if you do this, other players can also take advantage of it too. So you can get even more abilities off on people. One of my most popular videos on Deception Assassin, you do actually get to see that at its peak, when Deception was really busted, and then we had like triple assassin in the arena, and we all like instantly perfectly used our low slash like in succession, and global 2 different operatives back to back, which is pretty funny. So they definitely give this class some durability. It definitely has a lot of burst. I think Shellcraft should probably just get removed. I do think they should have auto grip. They should probably just tie it to recklessness and call it a day, like how it used to be with Def Now. Or give more incentive, I guess, back to its procs, which is not a bad thing for the most part. I do enjoy the flow. Deception's never really been my like go-to favorite kind of class. In fact, when I was really obnoxious with like a healer, like just one Deception player plus a healer, you had 50 or 75% force speed of sword. You could basically, if you knew what you were doing between those 2 classes, you could not only control like at least 5 players, you could also pretty much mitigate most of pretty much everything. Anytime you had like super deadly burst, you could just use your force speed, get stuff out. You had Shroud, you had deflection, CC immunity, you had 2 whirlwinds. It was pretty nice. It's no longer that kind of crazy anymore, which is maybe a good thing, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of all the pruning. And here we get it like a perfect example of why I want to get more games with this. It looks really good on screen. So I'm about to get an AoE discharge here. It's not that great, but there's going to be like 2 here in a second. It's going to be really nice. So I get myself back up, and I see that they stack up here. I do waste my charges, but I just wanted to get this off as soon as possible because I knew I could get both discharges in. Set current window, which is what it did. That's like a massive amount of damage right there. And that was mainly what I was doing, or was hoping for, I guess, and SWTOR would have been great for it. But nonetheless, we didn't get a SWTOR, so unlucky, but we did get a semi-interesting abandon. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to help.